Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 5 to 8 English lesson on adages, actually, idioms and adages. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts. We're doing grade 5 to 8. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of idioms and adages. All right. So our chapter is idioms and adages. Our subject is English, which is language arts. We're doing grade 5 to 8. And in the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of idioms and adages is to determine the meaning of idioms from context, and we're going to identify the meaning of idioms and adages. And this is a continuation of the lesson that we did in our previous week. Remember, we are continuing. We did this. We started um, last in the week with idioms and adages, so we are just finishing idioms and adages. Yes, like a set two. All right, so this is basically like a continuation. It's a part two of idioms and adages. All right, and remember we said idioms, right? So an idiom is a phrase that means something different than what the word in the phrase mean on its own, right? So when it comes to idioms, you should not look at the phrase or the sentence in a literal way, right? Like we made an example last week of it's raining cats and dogs. If you give me the meaning of the literal meaning of that idiom or of that phrase, and then you're going to tell me that, from the sky, from the clouds, cats and dogs are falling down, meaning that it is raining cats and it's raining dogs. That is the literal meaning. So when it comes to idioms, right? Idioms is a phrase that means something different than what the word or the phrase mean on its own. It's more of a figurative expression that you're giving. So if we say it's raining cats and dogs, then it just means that it is raining a lot. It is pouring outside, right? So you should not look at it literally. Because if you're going to give me the direct meaning or the direct translation of that words or of that phrase, and then you're going to tell me that cats and dogs are falling from the sky. It's raining cats and it's raining dogs. Like rain falling from the sky. Let's look at this. Here's one example. Under the weather. This is an idiom, right? Under the weather is an idiom. And if you are going to give me the direct translation of under the weather, then it means that, okay, let me go and stand outside under the weather and feel how it feels. That is what it means. Please me. So you need to look at that idiom, right? Look at the phrase and then try and figure out how it's being written within a sentence in order for you to see what the meaning of that phrase is. So, under the weather, if you don't know what is under the weather, because under the weather has got nothing to do with under the weather. It's nothing to do with raining, sunshine, cloudy, nothing. It doesn't have anything to do with weather, right? If we look at the sentence If we look at the sentence in which it is being used, it says Sally stayed home because she's feeling under the weather. So if you stay out of school because you're feeling under the weather, then it means that you are not feeling well. So under the weather means that someone isn't feeling well. I either have a fever, I think I've got the flu, a change of season, so now my sinus are acting up and it's making me a bit sick or ill. That is under the weather, right? Under the weather has got nothing to do with the weather. Cats and dogs, raining cats and dogs has got nothing to do with dogs and cats, right? So that is what it means. That is an example of an idiom, which is a phrase that means something different than the word in the phrase or what the word in the phrase means on its own, right? So, which means that when it comes to idioms, you cannot just look at an idiom, or an idiom cannot just be found by looking at the meaning of the word. Like I say, if you look at under the weather, you can't just say, okay, this is to do with weather. Let me go outside and see if it's sunny, if it's no, right? So you cannot just look at the word, and an idiom cannot just be found by looking at the meaning of that word, the direct meaning of the word. When it comes to idioms, right? It's either you're going to have to see how the idiom is being used or the phrase is being used within a sentence, or you're just going to have to remember it or try and figure out the meaning of that idiom. So you either have to look at them and try and figure out what the meaning is of this idiom. You're either going to have to remember the idiom, or you're going to have to look at how the idiom is being used within a sentence in order for you to identify what the meaning is, or in order for you to make out what the meaning is of that idiom or the phrase. Right? Once again, once again, under the weather has got nothing to do with the weather. Look at how it is being written within, or how it's being used within a sentence, right? And that will maybe give you an idea of what the meaning of that word is, or of that idiom is. Or by now, since we are mentioning under the weather again, you should know by next time if you see an idiom somewhere on a page or on a poster, or somebody making mention of under the weather, then you will know that, okay, under the weather means that the person is not feeling well, because you have remembered it, right? So that is idioms. Idioms is a phrase that means something different than what the words in the phrase mean on its own. An idiom, right? Here is three examples of idioms. The first idiom is give one's right arm. Give one's right arm. Does it mean I must give my right arm to you? Give one's right arm. It's like if you've got like a best true friend, right? And you say, you know what? I will give my right arm to you. It's like saying I've got your back. Doesn't necessarily mean you have some you take your arms and hold the person's back, right? If you have a bestie or a true friend, right? And you say, for you, because of how good our friendship is, I will give you a right arm. I'll give you my right arm. And that means if you say, I will give you my right arm, it doesn't mean let me chop off my right arm and I'll give it to you. It does not mean that. Give one's right arm has got nothing to do with arms. It's got nothing to do with I'll chop off my arm for you. If we say give one's right arm, I will give you my right arm, it means to do anything for someone or something. So if you tell someone, to you, I'll give my right arm, it means that you will do anything for that person, right? That is what it means. It has nothing to do with arms. It's got nothing to do with left or right arms. It just means that it's basically it's to do with anything, that you will do anything for someone, or you will do anything for something. Let's say someone specifically. All right, if we look at the next one, Achilles heel. That's an idiom, Achilles heel. And Achilles heel means a weakness. Achilles heel means a weakness, right? Nothing to do with heels, but it is a weakness. If you look at the next one, it says, don't take any wooden nickels. This is an adage. Don't take any wooden nickels. And if we were to identify what that means, don't take any wooden nickels, then it means watch out for people who might cheat you. Nothing to do with nickels. Nothing to do with either silver, nickel, wooden nickels, nothing. If they say don't take any wooden nickels, then it means watch out for people who might cheat you. Right? And that is an adage, or another word we would say it's a proverbs. Proverbs. And this is a proverb or adage. An adage, right? Adages are words that is, it's something like well-known sayings that people have said over time. Because nickels, do we still use nickels? So adages are well-known saying that people have said over time, right? Whereas idioms, it is just a common saying with a meaning that is different from what the other word means, different than what the meaning means. So these are three examples or more examples of either idioms or adages. Remember idioms? An idiom is a phrase that means something different than what the word in the phrase mean on its own, whereas adages, right? It is well-known sayings that people have been saying over a long, long time. It's also like idioms, but people have said that over a very long time. We usually say it's grandparents' tales, right? And when it comes to idioms, when it comes to adages, we need to see how it is being used within a context, or you are just going to have to remember it, right? So now we're going to aplusstudents.ca, the chapter idioms and adages, and we're going to the part two, where we're going to determine the meaning of idioms from context, and we're going to identify the meaning of adages. And these are all part two or set two. All right, so now we're going to determine the meaning of idioms from context, from a sentence, how it is being used. It says, what is the meaning of turntables? What is the meaning of turntables? Have you ever heard somebody say turntables? It says the visiting team seemed sure to win at first, but our team turned the tables on them in the end. Have you ever heard that? Turntables. Turntables, does it mean to move large, heavy furniture? Turntables, does it mean to move large, heavy furniture? Or does it mean to reverse a situation? What does turntables mean? The visiting team seemed sure to win at first, but our team turned the tables on them in the end. What does that mean? What do you think it means based on that context? Based on the sentences in which it is written. Remember, not a direct meaning, because if you are saying upside down, then it means that we are turning the tables upside down. Remember, idioms is not a direct meaning. So, turn tables, does it mean to move large, heavy furniture? Or does turning tables means to reverse a situation? Which one is correct? Does it mean to move large, heavy furniture, the first one, or the second one, to reverse a situation? And if we were to choose the correct option of what turn the tables mean, then we can say to reverse a situation. This is the correct answer, right? So it says the visiting team seemed sure to win at first, but our team turned the tables on them in the end. Meaning that the visiting team they were first all the time. They were ahead. So they thought they were gonna win. But then they turned the next team turned the tables on them, meaning they reversed that situation, and then the visiting team was then losing and the other team was then winning. That is what it means. It means it's reversing a situation. First they were winning and now they are losing, or they thought they were winning, or they were thought they were ahead, but now they are behind. So it is to reverse a situation. Remember, when it comes to idioms, once again, do not look at the direct meaning of the words, right? Idioms means something. It means it's a phrase that means something different than what the words in the phrase mean on its own. It's something different. Nothing to do with tables, nothing to do with furniture, right? Let's look at another one before we go to our test. It says, what is the meaning of spur of the moment? I'm sure you heard of this word already. Spur of the moment. I wasn't planning on going out, but when Martha invited me, I made a spur of the moment decision to join. I wasn't planning on going out, but when Martha invited me, I made a spur of the moment decision to join her. What does spur of the moment mean? Does spur of the moment mean something average, or does it mean usual? No, not usual. Oopsie. Does it mean average or usual? Or does it mean sudden and unplanned? Oopsie. What does it mean? Does it mean the first one, it is average or usual? Or does it mean number two, sudden and unplanned? I wasn't planning on going out when Martha invited me. I made a spur of the moment decision to join them. What does spur of the moment mean? Does it mean average or usual? Or does it mean you decided to make a sudden and unplanned decision to meet up with them? All right, and if we were to choose the correct option, Then yes, we can say you made an option two sudden and unplanned decision, right? A spur of the moment. It's a sudden and unplanned decision. It's like, oh, I thought on the spur of the moment, let me rather go and do something. You didn't plan it, right? You didn't plan it at all. No, I don't have a touchscreen laptop. I don't even have a MacBook. It's just a normal laptop that I have. All right, let's look at the next one. It says, what is the meaning of asleep at the wheel? What is the meaning of asleep at the wheel? It says, the board of directors must have been asleep at the wheel last year, given the shockingly low profits. Remember, spur of the moment, it doesn't mean that we need to look directly at the word, right? But the meaning of that mean, it's just an sudden and unplanned decision that you are making. That's spur of the moment. The only spur that I know of is a restaurant that we have here. It's a Mexican restaurant. Not necessarily Mexican, but yeah, spur. I don't know if it's international, but a spur is like a restaurant. But spur of the moment is just a sudden and unplanned decision that you make. So if your friends come to you tomorrow morning and they just call you and say let's go somewhere, but you didn't plan on going anywhere, and then you are now deciding on that spur of the moment, should I go or shouldn't I go? Should I go or shouldn't I go? Or if you decide to go, then it's like, okay, it's on the spur of the moment. Let me quickly get ready and let me leave. But it wasn't anything planned. That is what spur of the moment means. It's something unplanned. Now we have asleep at the wheel. It says the board of directors must have been asleep at the wheel last year, given the shockingly low profits. Asleep at the wheel. Does it mean they were napping in a parked car? Does it mean napping in a parked car? Or does it mean not paying attention? Which one is correct? Just this one, and then we're going to the test. Just this one, and then we're going to the test. So, what is the meaning of asleep at the wheel? Does it mean they were napping in the parking lot or in the parked car? Or is it option two, they were not paying attention? Which one is correct? And if we were to choose the correct one, then yes, we will choose option two. Because if they had low profits, then it means that they probably weren't paying attention, right? Okay, so now we're going to our test where we are going to determine the meaning of idioms from context. So option two is correct. Well done. All right, the next one says, what is the meaning of nail it? Like, yeah, nail it. What does it mean? Nail it. Does it mean to, it says Russell was concerned about performing at first, but he practiced his part so well that he nailed it in the end. Does it mean option one to attach something to a wall, or option two to get something exactly right? Nail it. What does it mean? And if we were to choose the correct one, nail it, it means to get something right. So well done, to get something right. What is the meaning of diamond in the rough? Diamond in the rough. It says, after seeing his promising sketches, we decided that the young artist was a diamond in the rough. Is it option one, a person with hidden potential or ability? Or option two, an uncut and unpolished stone? All right, and if we were to identify what diamond in the rough is, remember it's not a direct thing, so it is a person with hidden potential or ability. Well done. Option one is correct. The next one says, what is the meaning of butter someone up? To butter someone up. Is it that says the salesperson praised me several times, but I knew he was just buttering me up. The salesperson praised me several times, but I knew he was just buttering me up. Is that to start learning something, option one, or option two, to compliment someone because you want something? To start learning something, or to compliment someone because one wants something? So next time when someone butter you up, then it means that they are just being nice to you, complimenting you because they want something, or they want you to do something for them. So well done. Option two is correct. What is the meaning of better half? The meaning of better half. Usually adults use this word. It says Mr. McKee's co-workers finally met his better half, Mrs. McKee, at the office holiday party. So better half, does it mean the best of the group, or someone's husband or wife? better half. So the best of the group, is that the better half or someone's husband or wife? Look at this again. It says, Mr. McKee's co-workers finally met his better half. Mr. McKee, right? His co-workers finally met his better half. Mrs. McKee at the office holiday party. Meaning Mr. McKee's colleagues, they finally met Mrs. McKee at the party. So, Mrs. McKee, what is Mrs. McKee of Mr. McKee? Is that the best of the group or someone's husband or wife? Yes, better half means it is either someone's husband or someone's wife. Married people usually use this word because if you want to refer to either my husband or refer to my wife, for example, then I would say, oh no, my better half is coming, right? That is what you would say. Not potential partner, but the colleagues, the people at his work, they met his wife. Not the potential, but they met his wife, right? The actual wife, not the potential wife. So, someone's husband or wife. Because Mr. McKee introduced Mrs. McKee. Mr. and Mrs. husband and wife. So well done. Option two is correct. All right, so now we're going to identify the meaning of idioms and adages. I'm not going to go over it. We can go straight to the test where we are going to identify the meanings of idioms and adages. Here we have it again. What is the meaning of better have? Does it mean option one, the best of the group, or option two, someone's husband or wife? And if we were to choose the correct one, then yes, we would say option two. Better have is someone's husband or someone's wife. Don't now say your boyfriend or girlfriend is a better half. You need to get married first. The next one says, what is the meaning of strike while the iron is hot? You need to strike while the iron is hot. Does it mean when you have an opportunity, take it before it's gone? Option one. Or option two, something good comes from every problem. You need to strike while the iron is hot. Does it mean option one, when you have an opportunity, take it before it is gone? Or is it option two, something good comes from every problem? Which one is correct? Yes, and if you were to choose the correct one, you need to strike while the iron is hot. You need to take the opportunity before it is gone. All right, let's do the last one and then we're done. What is the meaning of Achilles heel? We did this earlier. Achilles heel. Does it mean option one, a piece of information that misleads or distracts? Or option two, a weakness? Which one is correct? A piece of information that misleads or distracts, or a weakness? Option one or option two? And if we were to choose the correct one, then yes, it is a weakness. Well done. All right, so that is the end of our lesson. We said that our end of our lesson on idioms and adages. We said an idiom is basically a phrase that means something different than what the phrase actually means. And we said adages are old sayings, right, that have been used for a very long time. Both of these idioms and adages, it is words that mean something totally different than what the meaning of it means. Do not look at it directly, but you need to look at it and probably in how in what context it's being used, or you're gonna have to remember it, right? So that is idioms and adages. So that is the end of our lesson on idioms and adages. Thank you very much for joining the class, and I really hope you're going to have an amazing weekend further. Goodbye.